So these are your energies. Let's pull a card for your partner's energies, and let's pull a guidance card for what's happening in your union, right? Okay. So Cancer, your partner's energies, uh, what's happening in your union, or you could read this as the divine feminine, the divine masculine. So see what fits for you. And even if you are not a Cancerian, but this reading resonates with you, then that is God's way of bringing the message for you, right? So let's get started. And Archangel Sandalphon is personally guiding this reading. Thank you, Archangel, for your loving messages and your clear guidance. Right. Okay, so seeing the true you. So this was the message for the divine feminine is what I'm picking up. A lot of feminine energy I'm picking up here. Why are you shying away from showing your twin flame and the world who you really are at the core? Yeah. So where in life have you been hurt, where you tried to truly express yourself and you were kind of slammed as being too passionate or too intense or too rebellious, or simply someone who feels things deeply. And highly sensitive people especially face this issue because everything around you, you feel it very, very deeply, don't you? And the majority of life experience may or may not have supported that, and you're being called to let go of all of those layers of conditioning and show your twin flame and the world who you really are at the core. So that is the healing that you're being called into at this point. And your partner, it seems as though I'm picking up on a lot of energy in the collective around envy and jealousy. You see how it's kind of, this lady is it says free from judgment, free to love, but I'm clearly picking up on envy, jealousy, also a little bit of greed. So your partner is probably doing a lot of shadow work, consciously or unconsciously, but these are the issues that are coming up in his life. So either he could be the person who is experiencing jealousy, looking at you blossoming, or maybe they could be jealous. Um, are you trying to make your partner jealous to get them to notice you? That's something that's coming up, because that really doesn't work. That stuff doesn't fly with twin flames, right? So, and what I'm also picking up is your partner probably is facing situations in his life where he's encountering, like I said, greed, a lot of low vibration energy, a lot of focus on the shadow side of power, a lot of materialistic pursuits which don't really feel good to the heart. And he's coming up with a lot of people like this in his life who kind of who make him feel that he or his feelings are not as important as making a little extra money. It could be a colleague, it could be a karmic partner that they are with. So he's really being called to question, is this the kind of behavior that you're willing to put up with, and how long are you going to put up with it? Or you can okay, so that's so he's experiencing a lot of this behavior of greed from his friends, right? So, you know, the divine masculine is being called to let go of a lot of low vibrational friendships at this point in time. And some of these friends could be jealous of his relationship with the divine feminine. And a lot of these patterns which he was blind to in his friends are actually now coming up. So some of them are probably acting out their jealousy or acting out their judgment judgmental behaviors, and he's a little taken aback, and he's like, wow, is this the person that I thought was a really good friend of mine? And he doesn't really seem to have my best interest at heart. And I thought that if I was ever in need of money, or if I was ever in need of a helping hand, this friend would be the person that I could go to. But how wrong have I been? And it's kind of just breaking his heart. Where also what I'm picking up is the truth is being shown to the masculine, the truth about a lot of people, and he is taking his time processing that, right? And let's see what's playing out here. Okay, so a lot of ancestral karma is coming up for release in your union at this point in time. And divine feminines, you're being called to let go of a lot of your mother wounding. And what are the what's your family story, right? Is it abuse? Is it abundance issues? Is it maybe the shadow side of power, like too much patriarchy? What exactly is your family story? Like in my family's case, it was the case of no matter how empowered the women were when it came to education, ultimately when it came to deciding who would have a say in things, it would always be the men in the house. And women were always sort of I won't use the word subjugated, that's a pretty strong word in today's world, but not treated on par with men. And there's probably a lot of wounding around past lives in that as well. So look to your family patterns, because that's what's coming up for clearing for both of you at this point in time. Okay, wow, these cards wanted to come up before I could even shuffle. Okay. So I was going to ask, what are you thinking about consciously, and what are they thinking about consciously? And this is what came up. So there's some I'm getting messages around competition for you. So some of you for whom this message resonates, divine feminine, or even some of the divine masculines on the twin flame journey, you're being called to let go of your notions around competition and achievement, and to really work from a place of joy, and trust that God will provide for you in a way that is best suited for you, right? So let go of notions around competition. And there's a lot of conflicts, a very similar kind of energy that's coming up. So as you know, some issues around work and family are coming up for you in terms of conflict, and a lot of issues with respect to friendships are coming up, like I said, with for the masculine. And it's a lot of conflict over there, and a lot of energy leaks to friends for the partner energy. And yeah, so and the what's coming up for clearing for you is stop sparring with people, stop getting attached to people. Ultimately release your cords of attachment, and the only person who truly has your back is God, right? So let that sink in. So not even your twin flame, because even your twin flame in this body, in this incarnation, is limited in terms of their time and attention, because they have to tend to their issues as well. The only being who's infinitely loving and infinitely protective of you is God. And I just saw 10:01 on my clock there, so that's like a twin flame mirror. So you are being called to let go of these low vibration energies, work and family in this case, friends in this case, and really uh, uh, start developing a daily dialogue with God. That's the exact phrase that came out. Develop a daily dialogue with the divine, and go into this energy, right? So if you look at the energy here, it's very conflicting. The too many people over here, and the too many energies. I'm getting a lot of clutter in your energy field. Um and you're being called to release all of this and really stand in your power, and manifest with clear intention and ease. So that was the clear message. And let's see, with respect to your life purpose work, what's coming up. So where are you? Where's your twin flame? Okay. Very interesting. Okay. So, so what I'm picking up from the Hangman card for you guys, it may seem as though you have been stuck in a rut for a long time. It may seem as though your career has taken a beating. It may seem as though God has pulled away all of your resources. But please understand, as you see this person, although it may seem like he's hanging from a tree, he's also going through a deep period of rest, rejuvenation, and spiritual enlightenment. And all of these skills that you develop during this down phase, the spiritual winter is what's coming up. All of these skills that you pick up in this phase are going to come in extremely handy once you really, and I'm getting the image of a catapult, that so you may think that God is pulling you back when you should actually be taking steps forward, but he's pulling you back only to kind of launch you in a projectile motion forward. He's not interested in you treading it step by step. So God is really preparing you to sort of launch forward with respect to your work. And so if you are being called to develop certain skills, if you're being called to some of the work that you're being called to do might be frustrating. Maybe some of you are being called to go back to school or learn a specific skill. In my case, I was going deeper into learning the healing arts, and it made no sense to me because I'm an engineer and an MBA in finance, and it made no sense to me that God was directing me towards the healing arts. But God makes it very clear to me that this is a part of my life purpose, and a larger part of my life purpose is to do with the education and the skills and the work experience that I've picked up. But all of these skills, developing a dialogue with God, all of this is going to help me in that as well. So, doing readings like this, for example, I could do a reading on my business situation tomorrow and get clear guidance from the angels about what situation or which direction to move in. So nothing that you pick up is ever for no use. And your partner is going through a deep transformation with respect to his career and work. And I'm getting the clear message that God has really shut a door in his face. And that has led to a deep sense of abandonment. And with respect to work, I'm getting the message that there's some feeling around despair. Let's just pick up a quick card for that. And we get the sunlight card. So what I'm kind of getting over here is, at this point in time, it may seem as though you're in the dark, but the sun is going to come out soon on you and your career. Thank you.